past. Welcome to Oconee County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, February the 27th, 2024. After a moment of silence, we're going to ask Mark Saxon to lead us in the pledge. Please stand. Thank you. Congratulations to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic. Our first item tonight is to approve the agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda submitted.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is any statements and remarks from citizens. This is for anything not on the agenda tonight. Do we have any statements or remarks from commissioners? We want to encourage you to use our Click Fix application. So you can do it on the website or you can download it to your phones. You see any kind of issue, code enforcement issue, potholes, litter, you can snap it on your phone and send the message in. It'll go to correct department and you'll receive a follow-up from that as well. So it's an awesome tool to use to help keep Oconee County looking great. Let's see. So our next item is the recognition of Oconee County Fire Rescue Explorers. Chief.
Chairman, Board of Commissioners, like to thank the opportunity. Appreciate you inviting the Explorers up tonight. As you know, they're a fine group of young men and women, 14 to 17 years old. And it's good to have them here so that you can recognize them. They had a competition a couple of weeks ago and they did real well. So I want to bring up Brandon Newton, who is our Station 7 captain, also the leader of the Explorer group, and he'll say a few words. And also, I want to thank all the advisors that we have, volunteer members that help as advisors, and they do a ton of work.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners, for having us. As y'all know, we've started this program fall of 2021. 2 years ago, I never would have imagined in my wildest dreams that we would be where we are with this post now. We had the very first night, only 5 or 6 explorers show up, and we've now grown to 15 explorers in the program. Like Chief said, it is a program for the ages of 14 to 18. They do have to reside within Oconee County, and in hopes that on their 18th birthday or graduation of high school, they would become volunteers with Oconee County Fire Rescue. We have had several go on to become medical responders or going to fire recruit school for the department. We actually have 2 more that this year will be doing the same, and many more to come the following. So like Chief said, we did recently compete in Explorer competition in beginning of February. It was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Amongst that competition, there were 38 other teams. With those 38 teams, we did manage to place first and third in an event with 2 of our teams. Post 791, which is our Explorer post number, Team 1 placed first place in advanced trauma management, and Team 2 placed third place in advanced trauma management. We couldn't be more proud of them. This was our very first time competing in anything ever before. Was very, very strict competition there. We were blown away, and the other teams did an absolutely outstanding job. Definitely a post to keep an eyes on later, and we hope to see them do many great things. But the Explorers aren't all of it. The advisors did do an amazing job leading up to prepare them for this competition. They all cleared their schedules, and they were meeting every Tuesday for the several months leading up to the competition to prepare them. None of this would have been possible without the help of all the advisors and everything that they did and their sacrifices they made for the post. Moving forward, we are going to remain on an every Tuesday schedule. So they'll continue to work hard and keep this post going. And I just couldn't tell you how proud of them we really are. Thank you.
You want to recognize them?
Yeah. You want me to call them up one by one or? Okay. So Lieutenant Alex York, you'll stand up and go up there with them. Lieutenant Henry Melvin, Captain Braden Shelton, Explorer Macon Shore, Explorer Dominique Cruz, Explorer Caitlin Nunn, Explorer Rocco Romano, Explorer Aiden Singleton, Explorer Max Caudle, Explorer Grayson Fuller, Explorer Connor Ward, Explorer Dylan Hetzko, Explorer Andrew Murphy, Explorer Matthew Murphy, Advisor Christina Shook, Advisor Joanna Ashley, Advisor Carter Payne, Advisor Cliff Threadgill, last but not least, Cliff.
Next item of business is discuss the update on the broadband contract with Charter Spectrum. Justin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. If you recall, 2-ish years ago, we brought the initial contract for Charter Spectrum as a grant for broadband service in Oconee County. He originally contemplated 1,377 estimated addresses. Charter knew that when they got out there in the community, the walkouts, they'd find additional ones within phase one. This was part of what's called a synergy build with their RDOF, which is a federally subsidized portion of the southern part of the county. As of right now, phase one is virtually complete, and the total they hooked up there is 1,716 addresses. And then the RDOF is also complete as well. So during this area, Charter Spectrum and Oconee County has identified 211 additional addresses that are considered unserved and outside the initial phase one. And so this is an amendment to the agreement with Charter for the grant application, which would be an additional 2,500 per address for the 211. So this would be the total cost at this point for phase one is $1,716,000 for phase one, and then phase two would be another $127,500 for an aggregate $2,243,500 for phase one and two of the Charter broadband project. Within the agreement is also, I would anticipate there are also addresses still not contemplated within it. So that allows the county to go to Charter for future grants at a tiered rate, depending on how many passings occur throughout the course of the project. But anyway, so this is an amendment to the original agreement to allow us to incorporate 211 additional addresses and then handle any go forward requests that we may have to work with Charter Spectrum to provide more broadband coverage. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? We're getting a lot of reports from the south end that have been hooked up, and it's working really well. This has been a great project.
And I'd also like to add one other thing. The federal subsidy, I believe they had until 2026 or 2027 to complete, but by the county initiating the grant application for phase one, we jumped to the front of the line in the state. So most of the places that were hooked up this past year would be waiting until 2026 seven, if not for the phase one approach as well. Again, they kind of work together. Charter was able to muster their forces and get economies of scale on it.
I did have one question, Justin, on the original, as you call it, phase one, that you said it was 1,766 addresses.
It's 1,716. That was my typo.
Okay, but my question is that, of course, they had to run a trunk line out to serve those homes, correct?
That's correct.
So if they sign someone up subsequently, does Charter still get a subsidy from us, or they're on their own?
They're on their own at this point.
Okay, so if I live between you and the trunk line, they could hook me up, but the county wouldn't subsidize.
That's correct.
Okay.
And again, I think for clarification, it's important to note, this is we are providing a grant, economic grant to incentivize Charter Spectrum to build out their infrastructure. But it's not like a direct contract with Charter. We're not in partnership with them. We're providing them an incentive. And it's clearly worked because we've been trying to get this for a long time, and past year's been pretty successful.
Has it motivated any of the other private carriers to expand their network in our county? Have you been,
Not to my knowledge.
okay. I didn't know if healthy competition, if the others stepped up and started expanding or not.
That has not been my
Where
observation.
they have expanded is within the population area anyway, so
Well-
there's nothing on the.
Well, that's what I mean, because there were some subdivisions in certain parts of the county where people would move in and could not get broadband service because they were at full capacity. That's my question, is those areas that had been served, I was curious if other private carriers had upped their game any.
So I think all carriers, if they're, based on my understanding now with the broadband industry, there's been so much money flooded because of the federal grant opportunities that have come. So all of them have mobilized their infrastructure on it. I'm not specifically knowledgeable on the ones you're talking about outside of the Charter build inside Oconee County.
You hadn't been getting phone calls from
No,
people?
the phone calls have slowed down.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? This item be all right for consent agenda? Do we have any public comment? Thank you. Next item is discuss the 2024 speed detection device permit updates. Jody?
Get to the right agenda item. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners. This is a correction to the item that was approved on January the 2nd, when Georgia DOT communicated to us the reduction in speed at Dove Creek Elementary School, Middle School on State Route 53. They indicated by phone that it would be 50 miles an hour, but when they sent the traffic study, the actual recommendation was 45 miles per hour. So that's what this correction is a corrected document showing 45 miles an hour on State Route 53. All the other information is the same as what was approved on January the 2nd.
Any questions on this correction? You all right for consent agenda? Do we have any public comment? Next item is discuss the additional FY24 resurfacing. Jody?
This item of business is, there's a lot of ifs in it, but when we did the original estimate for the FY24 resurfacing, we kind of did a windshield survey of all the roads. And as far as patching was concerned, and to get an estimate together, in looking at it, the paving contractor has gone out and marked areas, and then I think Michael Weathers has assisted with that. So they have physically marked all the areas on the roads that will be patched. And right now, the contractor estimates that there will be a significant savings in patching. And it would be around, as it stands right now, it'd be around $800,000. And taking that, we would like to present to the board the possibility of adding deep patching and shoulder widening on Colum Ferry as kind of a phase one approach. and look at adding that to the resurfacing list in FY 25. And also with the anticipation of the state approving additional FY 24 LMIG money, we would like to use that funding that if it becomes available, use both of those fundings for that work on Colon Ferry.
Any questions for Jody on that?
Let me make sure I understand. What you're asking for is if the money's available from the savings.
Yes, we'll do the contract as it is right now, and it would be based on quantity underrun. And if we underrun like the contractor is anticipating, that savings would be applied to Colon Ferry.
All right, so what you're saying is the widening of the shoulder and the deep patching would take place this fiscal year if funds are available.
It would start possibly this fiscal year, but it would be funding from this fiscal year, and they would do it while they're working on the existing contract.
But in either case, the resurfacing of Colon Ferry Road would take place, is scheduled for next fiscal year.
Yes, that's our plan, is to do the complete Colon Ferry next year. If this project doesn't happen, we would still work on it next year and do everything we needed to in FY 25.
That's what I was getting at. If we don't have these savings and we don't have this money, we're still gonna do the widening of the
Yes,
shoulders and. Okay,
yes, that's correct.
Getting a little head start.
that's fine.
Mhm.
Now, once you start now, you're gonna open up, hurry up.
I know. Let's finish it up. I know, we get those calls a lot. One of the comments and calls we get a lot of times is when we go in and start deep patching, the citizens typically will call and say, is this the finished product? No, it's not. It's phase one. We're actually coming in patching and we'll resurface behind it. And then they're like, okay. So,
All right. Thank you.
Well, Jody, I was gonna tell you, I saved you from getting some of those calls the other day.
I
I
appreciate
got
it.
them when I was walking. I said, I told them we're coming back.
Right. Thank you.
Any other questions on this item?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one thing. I noticed that from time to time, we put things on social media about, road construction. And I may have mentioned it to you. I think that we're able to do this because of the T-Splosh. Is that correct? I mean, we're able to do these.
Additional miles. Yeah, we have about 20 extra miles of road that'll be done this.
Well, all I'm saying is that it'd be good to remind the citizens that, because of T-Splosh, it's making the projects possible. So I don't want you down there waving a sign, but I didn't know if some communities put up signs, like your pennies are at work. It just kind of remind people that, especially those that supported T-Splosh. Now, the folks that didn't vote for it, that's their, maybe we'll change their mind next time. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Everybody good with consent? Do we have any public comment? Very good. Next time, is discuss the new social media policy. Diane?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. You have before you an updated social media policy, which is going to cover both our internal and external users and which aligns with current best practices. It incorporates recommendations from the Government Social Media Professional Organization, current case law, and Social Archive, which is an archiving service that we use to comply with open records laws regarding our social media.
Any questions on the policy? You all right for consent agenda?
Yep.
Do we have any public comment? We do not have need of executive session, so Commissioner Sacks.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. We are adjourned.